Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar about Panorama's feature. I hope you hear me well. I'm glad that you join us. You could join us today. Just a quick advice. So the music should have stopped by now, and I advise you to adjust the sound of your headphones or speaker's phone. So I'm Philip Koum. I'm based in Chester. And you may know me through the Panorama technical support on the phone, or the pre-sales technical actions, or for the on-site interventions. So this WebEx platform will allow us to meet us and exchange about Panorama. This tool is based on a mainframe on the left-hand side, which displays presentations and screen share. You will only receive the sound through the PC sound card, and you can see that some panes are available on the right side of your window. If the pane is not displayed, please use the button on the top right corner to show and hide this pane. You may use the question and answer pane at the end of the session. During the session, if you have any idea, and we'll answer this question at the end. So yes, so during this presentation, you can ask as many questions as you want about Panorama softwares. And yes, by the way, at the end of this meeting, we will show you a poll on the right side. Please take a minute to answer. It's quite important for us to have a feedback about our presentation. So we built a waiting slideshow to present you the company you may have seen. I've seen that some attendees were present a few minutes ago. So, but first, I will introduce you my team workers. We are three to present you this webinar today. First is François Marseille, an expert in our software, and he has been a technical leader for 25 years now. And Julia, who is working on Panorama demo, building presentation for the salesman, and events like Panorama Days, as you may know. So here is a quick the presentation and the agenda of today. So this presentation will is split in two main parts. The first one will be presented by Julien, and it presents the Panorama E² and its principle. The other part deals with the selection of the last feature of our new version, the V6. It will be presented by Julien and myself. And if we have enough time, we'll present a quick information about other features of this V6. But we'll see. Usually we don't have time, but I hope we can show you a little bit of that. And at the end, a summary will be presented as a conclusion, and finally we'll end up with the question and answers. So for this presentation, we'll just, as a reminder, we'll only deal with technical feature of the modern SCADA system. The principle of Panorama E² is more computed-minded than PLC programmation. It can be used as an information system, and it fits to all kinds of fields like facility management, water, energy, transportation, process control, food, safety, oil and gas. But we won't speak about success stories or company history. If you are curious about that, please refer to our website or our salesman for this kind of information. I will now pass the baton to Julien for a presentation of Cobra.
So we now start explaining how Panorama E² works. So according to the theme, the computer integrated manufacturing, a SCADA system like Panorama E² drives the automation's level. This is an historical and basic point of view. But according to time, Panorama grew up and new features are added, like maintenance features, trends, telemetry acquisition, protocols, database features for traceability or quality, E² is an open system, and you can even create and add your own functions. E² is now often used as an information system or hypervisory platform. Those are basic features that we think are mandatory. Of course, all of them are existing in Panorama. Due to those features and its openness, Panorama E² matches any businesses, any architectures. So, how Panorama E² works. When you build a Panorama E² app, you use objects, like acquisitions or alarms. Those objects have properties and methods. You fill the parameters and link property to define rules and also a behavior between the objects. So you have to connect all your needs together, dealing with alarm, mimics, archiving or user rights, into one component. Finally, this is a model you use and you configure links property like the previous basic objects. Using this modeling system, you may build, modify, upgrade component models to match your installation constraints and data sources. You can model any equipment, even components of components, according to an assembly of several devices into a bigger model. When you build an application in Panorama E², you don't handle application distribution, execution, or redundancy. You only manage the supervisory behavior of your application. Network and system are invisible because of this inner software bus linking the computer together and propagating the value between objects. So we jump to a demo about Panorama E². I give the lead to François to go on.
Okay, so we have seen the theory on the PowerPoints. Now we'll see the practice. I will start the development tool, Panorama Studio, and we will create a project to monitor, for instance, valves. I create the root folder of my project so that I can right away start working. In this folder, to monitor our valves, we will start by building an acquisition Boolean variable in order to get the status of our valve. I call it switch because it's the switch giving the valve position. This object appears in the tree, and when I select it, I can see the properties that Julien has mentioned in his PowerPoint. Configuring this object to do the acquisition would mean defining here the data source, and here, for instance, the OPC item. Today, because Panorama provides a simulation mode, we will not set these configuration value and just use the variable not configured. With our switch, we need a graphic design of the valve, so we create a view object. And selecting the view in the tree brings the graphic editor on the screen. So to make a quick and easy drawing, I will activate the grid attraction, and I will then design a shape for my valve. In this graphic pane here, I have all the graphic attributes of my shape, and I can, for instance, change the fill style to symmetrical gradients and rotate my gradient in horizontally, like this. This is for the drawing, so we have all the drawing tools available in this tool button. In the next pane, the animation pane, I can define animation, which means changing graphic attributes according to inputs of the SCADA system. For this example, we will change the color of the valve. So we select fill color, and we will link it to the inputs we have. The inputs we have is one Boolean, so we select the function transforming a Boolean value into colors. I link the input of my function to my switch, and the switch property I want, of course, is the value of the switch, which is the acquisition value. I will change the colors, so leave a light green for open status and select a dark green for closed status. Now, because this is a demo, we have no PLC plugged in, we will use the command to drive the switch. So we select the operator action that will drive the switch, and it's using the mouse, clicking with the left button. I will toggle a Boolean, and the Boolean I want to toggle, of course, is my switch value. Okay, so the configuration of our valve is now completed. The drawing tool provides a local tests tool, so I can switch to tests and see my valve behaving, and if I click on it, I can see it behaves like I want, and I see the simulated value here. Okay, so this was just local testing. Now we will start the real application, the full runtime. So in the background, the server is loading the acquisition function, and on the HMI, we will select our view to be displayed. This is our valve. We will set the stretch mode to uniform so that we see we can resize the HMI and it adjusts to the screen resolution. And we can see that in runtime, the valve opens and closes. We can use the Panorama simulation tool, which allows us to view the simulated values. So we can see here that the unit 1 switch is now false. If I simulate to true, it moves the valve color, and when I switch, I click on the valve, it also acts on the simulated value. Okay, so this is our first step in the demo. We have completed our valve SCADA system. Now, of course, we want to be able to monitor more than one valve. So to go from one valve to any number, we will create what we call a component. Our component will be, in fact, made of what we exactly build for this single valve. The only difference is my view must represent just the valve, so I will resize the view to the valve size, and we have a button to do that automatically. So, having created these components, produce a new entry in my menu, and I can now create valves easily. I can paste 3 valves, and I can see that every time it creates my acquisition variable plus my view. I just have to add a main view and I can now build my application to see my valves. Just by dragging valves in the graphic will allow me to have their representation in the main view. Okay, so first benefit of the components, I work quicker. Second benefit, I have no mistake of configuration in every instance because they are based on the model. We can add more benefits to components. Let's see that I have another valve, valve number 4, which is different to these 3 valves because it uses 2 switches. So I will modify my component and add a new switch. And with these 2 switches, I can create an alarm that will tell me that I have a discrepancy between these 2 inputs. For instance, when the 2 switches are equal, it means my valve is blocked in an awkward position. So I define my alarm's present condition to be switch value equal switch to value. And this alarm needs to have a label, at least discrepancy. Having done this, I can see that my three valves, existing valves, they have inherited of these new objects. And it's not what I wanted. I want these new objects to be only in my new two switches valve. So I will make these objects absent by default so that existing valves will not receive these new objects, and only my new valve with two switches can be modified to have these objects. Okay, now we have an alarm. The problem is that alarm has a very simple label, discrepancy. If I had several valves, I wouldn't know which alarm goes with which valve. So I need to customize my alarm label so that the alarm name appears in it. There is a syntax in Panorama that we can use. When we use % characters, it tells to Panorama that he must evaluate what is between the two % signs. So I will use the syntax parent.name, which tells Panorama that he must replace this string by the name property of the object above my alarm, which means the valve. The result is that automatically the valve name appears in my label. And this time, every time I create a new alarm object, a new valve object, sorry, alarm labels will be configured automatically. We call this feature automatic property configuration. And I used it for labels, but it can be used for acquisition values for every property. So that's another benefit of the components. It saves me time configuring objects. Okay, let's finish this by testing this new application. I just will add an alarm window to display this new alarm. And I forgot to embed my valve number 4 in the graphics. Okay, let's start this application. Select the main view. And we can see my 4 valves. And because the default value simulated for all variables are 0, my 2 switches have produced the discrepancy alarm. If I want to change this, I can change the status of my switch number 1 on this valve number 4, which produce the alarm clearance, and I can now acknowledge it. So as you can see, very quickly, we have now the possibility to create 2 kinds of valve, and the benefit of the components is winning time and increasing reliability, because these components are now errorless. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you before going back to the rest of the presentation is the debug tool that we can use to test a Panorama application. This Application Explorer tool can connect both to the server, and it can see real-time the values. So if I go, for instance, on my valve with 2 switches, I can see my 2 variables and the alarm. I can look at all the real-time properties of this alarm. For instance, its status. It is now cleared. If I acknowledge the alarm, I see it go from cleared to cleared acknowledge. So I can really see what's going on into the application. And the same tool can connect to the HMI level and allow me, for instance, in my main view, to go and look at the alarm list. Right now, there is no alarm displayed. Alarm count is 0. if I trigger the alarm, I can see my alarm count going to 1. So this tool can really allow a developer to understand the result of his configuration and its behavior. Okay, that's finished for the configuration demo today, and I will hand over to Julien.
The lead of the presentation to show you the new feature of the V6, a quick overview, and later, just after my speech, Julien will show you a live demo of these features. So the main first feature of the E² V6 is the HMI tool, the GIS integration, Geographic Information Server. This feature deals with the main available map system that you may know, like Google Maps, which is specialized in road map display, Google Earth, OpenLayer, which deals with two-dimension maps. All these systems provide a similar basic feature with some tiny specification that we'll see. And as we will go further, we'll see that OpenLayer might be the most used system. And yes, please note that Google stopped the Google Earth software development kit maintenance, so it's also deprecated in our system now. So, and the benefits you can see on your screen. It allows a lot of capabilities that you may know as if you are a user of Google Maps. So you can see that the integration interface is generic. It has pretty much the same functionality. So the interface is essentially the same if you use Google or the OpenLayer one. So you can easily change the HMI control if you use the common feature of these systems. Here is a sum up of all the features available. So we developed Google Maps, Google Earth, and OpenLayer 2 first. And now we deal with OpenLayer 3, which provides more features. Regarding the layers overlay, in Google Maps, you only display satellite layers or relief layers and roads. In terms of markers grouping, the behavior is a little bit different. OpenLayers groups are built in a separated layer, so you can hide markers and show groups. On the other hand, Google Maps groups replace markers automatically, and markers reappeared according to the zoom level, which is quite handy. Regarding Google Earth, Google Earth don't have extra maps feature, but you can display integrated 3D objects or plug your own 3D model files. And to finish, as well, you can add custom maps. Many maps protocol available. We can provide you a list, and as I said before, we think that the main use will be OpenLayer 3 because there is more feature and less restriction. So now I'm going to show you some mimics. The first one you can see now is the application used in our Panorama Days roadshow, and it's mixing foreign or external information like position, site description, and as well some data from the SCADA like the tank level that you can see on the right hand side of the mimic. The second one is the real customer application with two screens dealing with the traffic management. And the third is a demo we made to illustrate both integration of HTML buttons in the map driving in Maps Driving Panorama E², and as well some embedding Panorama E² data into a custom tooltip of markers. So you can see the typical bell, a symbol of the alarms, and some all the data from the map. So a new feature of the V6 as well is the analog monitoring. So this is only a functional object to forecast trans behavior. So there's no mimic associated to that. You have to build it, but it can be applied to every trend that you have got in your application. So the first, we have a measure directly from a PLC or a computed value or anything else. Every kind of PLCs, every kind of trend, sorry. So, you can see that your value is currently growing, and the target is we need to know when the tank will be full. You can see the threshold. Or, for instance, another target will be when the operating temperature will be reached. So these object points, you can see, it's going to be, so the sample point will be calculated in a global trend. And after, we'll have an estimated delay to reach the threshold, as you can see on the trend. So of course, it is a Panorama E² property. So also you can link a value to an alarm when the delay is too short. So when your trend will reach this this blue line, you will have an alarm. It's going to raise up. What else? Sorry. Yes. You may have the opposite needs, for instance. So you'll be concerned by when the, what will be the value in 20 minutes, for instance. So you can add this feature like that. You have your Panorama will calculate your estimated value. And as well, you can set up an alarm to warn you. There is some more feature regarding this object. So you can, it can give you the minimum of your value, the maximum, the average, and the slope of your line, and as well the trend of your trend, if it's going up or down or it stays horizontal. Here is a mimic of our standard demo, and Julien is going to show you that live. Coming with that, we have a new feature, which is the data presentation, what we call Pano charts. It has been refurbished for the V6 completely, and with this new data presentation tool, we may manage many graphical formats. Basically, all you can have in Excel is available here. So a measure based on the time. You can compare two measures of both axes, like temperature versus pressure. You have the radar design and maybe others like sector, donuts, bars, polar, etc. Many useful features are available with this new tool, like listing points plus following templates according to the curves. What else? Yes, the available sources are richer now. You can have obviously the real-time values, the archive, the Panorama archive, but as well you can use Excel format files, text format, and as well you can build by yourself the data from a script, which can be handy. And as well, you can pick your data from a SQL database or Pano IT, which is our reporting tool product. So now we're going to give the floor to Julien for a live demo of what I've just described.
So now I'll present the application demo included into the installation package of Panorama E² with some modifications. So this will be available with the video on our website to download this application sample. So I start with this geographic information system demo. So here we have a layout containing an open layer tree control and other control from Panorama E² on the right. All the information for this control is provided by Panorama E², and we place our business's offices on the map using some markers. You can animate the markers on the screen, changing pictures, position, size, colors, like when you have an alarm on the site. So we can also focus on a particular marker. I can have details on the tooltip, and I can have a built-in HTML window embedded directly into the control. You can get information from Panorama E² into this pop-up. Have a control to show another mimic from Panorama E² embedded in the graphic, and you can drive Panorama E² to acknowledge this alarm. So everything is available in both ways between the Panorama E² and the control. If you know the alarm window in Panorama E², the filter system is the same on this control. You can have two filter levels, one used to limit access on the view by the developer, and one other available for the user to build another filter. So if I use the filter on about the south or sud, pardon. We only have the markers according to the sud, because in the filter text we have Agence Sud-Ouest and Agence Sud-Est. We can manage the text according to the filter for each marker. We can, of course, remove the filters. We can group the markers on the screen. According to the distance between markers, a group will be built. We can set a position, and we can call back this position. We can see that many different maps are available, like roads, transportation, or site for this tool. You can, of course, ungroup the markers. And you can manage the behavior of the control. So I disable all of the control on the graph, and I can, of course, restore them. Of course, we can rotate the map. It's a quite new feature to be available on the version 6 of Panorama E². If I switch on a Google Map layout, we will have the same behavior, except according to the marker grouping. If you group the marker, you only have one layer, and you have to manage individually the markers to have the same behavior than in open layer system. So some control are enabled or disabled using these checkboxes. Those are specific to Google Maps. You can even have yes, striking. Thanks, François. To south and having the same information on the map. Of course, if I select a marker, I will have the information in Panorama E², and I can build a behavior according to the selection in the Panorama E² window. So that's all for this first presentation of new feature. I build on data presentation some specific new trend behavior. So we have the new control on the left, and on the right we have the basics control of Panorama E² usually used. So this first mimic is a real-time display of properties. It can be computed values, scripted values, acquired measured. So in this case, all are simulated values. All modifications are online. You can change the properties of the control. You can change the color, the size, the kind of plotting type, etc. The size of the period displayed, the selected trends on the graph. If I had this one here, I will have another one displayed on my plotting system. So we have the same behavior available with historical data based on the archives of Panorama E². So the behavior is similar. A new available tool is the shifting axis. If I pause the graphic, I can make a zoom, of course, according to the window displayed by the mouse. And I can split the synchronization of axes. And so any axis is free, and we have linked each trend on both on different axes, so we can manage separately cursors and curves on the graph to overlap, to find some periodicities or trends, similar trends in the behaviors. And as soon as resynchronize the axis, I will keep the offset on the graphs. So I remove my zoom and my axis synchronization. I can delete all cursors and use special cursors to make calculation as shown in the PowerPoint. I'd like to have calculation between those two cursors, and I have a computed slope on this curve. So I told you everything is available to modification in Panorama chart control. We can use dynamic threshold, and according to those thresholds, the color is changing. So a quick review of available displaying format. So you have, of course, lines with an anti-aliasing system. You can use transparency between areas. We can stack areas together on the same graph. We can plot according to lines, to points, to different kind of points, different size of points. Everything is available for modification online. Here we have step stairs graphics. You can even have some 3D lines on the graph. Other classical type of trends are segmented lines or splines, fast lines or fast points. You can, of course, mix the different type of lines. You can use columns and stacked columns according to the series. Then a new available feature which will be important is plotting according to another value, not according to the time. Note that you can set the number of the remaining points on the graphs, and all the behavior are always available. If you change the thresholds on curves, you will reach some limits and changing color. But you may have to define areas to manage limits. It's like the left side on the graph. Limits line and domain are easy to define. We can here edit the green domain limits, and according to each axis, x-axis value, low and high limits are defined. So if you manage it through a script, you can add a limit on the system. A similar sample is presented in this subsample, which uses Panorama E² features to display two same graphics in the same area, but the little one is always centered on the last point every 5 seconds. So you have a global view of your dynamic of your system and a precise review of your of your measure near the limit. You can even change the last point of the measure according to a size or color, and you can define the number of the remaining points on the screen. So while your system records the same type of measure, for example, according to temperature in geographically distinct points, you can imagine this kind of graphic, remaining to several distant sensors on the same graphic, and the temperature is propagating through the sensor, and the temperature gradient is a kind of a wave on the screen. So the next few mimics are very original, like Bubblesn. This kind of representation is according to 3 different measures. So one for the x-axis, according to time or to series. The y-axis is for measure according to elevation. And a third available displaying format is linked to the size of the bubbles. Of course, you can use ranges bar to display offsets of range bar on the graph, and a way to associate some limits according to a measure based on the 2 others measures or limit trends. Radar and polar plotting types are available too. So those are static values, but you can of course imagine their dynamic behavior. And this mimic is a good sample to manage display with embedded values and a script, which allows to change dynamically the values in the table, and of course to refresh the data in the graph. Some horizontal bar graphs are available to be built with Panorama E². Of course, a 3D representation is available too. And to finish this demo about data presentation, we have some financial-minded presentation which can be used to display productivity or financial information. Show us the analog monitoring value and some information about the curves. So the current measure is in blue, and the max and minimum are in black, and the average is in green. And the tool is calculating a slope, and the trend is going fast lower. And some estimations, some forecasting values are computed. So the 25 is not yet available because the trend is going down. And we can imagine that the value in 20 seconds will be around 0.
So you should be able to see my presentation again. Hello again. I'm gonna describe some main improvements that we didn't have time to show you in the live demo, but they are quite useful. So first off, the Unicode is supported even for user and password. So which means that if you need, for instance, ancient Greek letters, or if you build an application in Korean, you can now have all type of character that you need. And the development environment receives some big enhancement as well. For instance, the panes in Pano Studio are separable, so it's very useful to search or to compare some animation and commands. It's like for the already user of Panorama may know that now you can have the tree of all your objects you can dock on your side of your window, and then as every time you navigate in your HMI or object or controls, you keep the object you are working on is highlighted. That's very handy when you have a big main window with a lot of objects. You have as well Yes, an optimization and error finding tools. It's like you scan for double links, you scan for an object which is not comprised in your development window, some kind of errors. Panorama will warn you and even sometimes solve the issue just by clicking on the button, so quite useful. And as well, for the former version user of Panorama, V4, V5, they're gonna love this one. You've got an HMI scan tool for the developers, which is you can open the bonnet runtime, kind of, and you will have a description of all your value runtimes of your HMI. You used to have that for the functional part, but now we have it for the HMI, and it's as a developer, it's a revolution. And as well, you can have the client can send messages, SMS, fax, mails, etc. And what have we got here as well? You have a MIB generator for SNMP. We managed to make the HMI start faster. And some new objects. You can ping some other machine of your network just by instantiating an object. So you don't need to write a script to do that. A good one as well is the word-to-bit feature, which means that if in your PLC you make a word, a 32-bit word, and as soon as you receive it on Panorama, you can split in 32 bits and regather them in 16 if you need, or every kind of management. It can be helpful to save some I/O if you are a little bit short. You've got as well an FTP client and some FIFO, switch, etc. So the list is long. Some other improvement includes it's referred to another script in the application. You can centralize a common and global part of the script. That's very handy if you have a specific reporting format. You can just write the way you want to format your reporting and just include this script in every script. So for the maintenance, you have just one location to modify, one script, and the modification is spread out instantly. What else? New displays format are available in text fields, and connection value instead of constant value on most animation and common parameters. So basically that's the overview of the new V6 features. So that's it for our presentation. So here is a quick sum up of what we said today. So basically, keep in mind that the object-oriented programming facilitates the development of components of application and obviously the maintenance. As you will see in the mimics in a few seconds, features and available protocol in E² are used in many fields of application. When I say protocols, it's like speaking about OPC, BACnet, SNMP, map servers, database, etc. And I'm going to show you the applications that we've got. So during this time, please, if you can fill up the survey, which appears here on the corner, and I will keep talking and describing the different application. Note that you need to use the scroll bar to answer all the questions. Once you validate your answer, you can change them. You cannot change them, so be careful. So now I present you some mimics. Those are real applications built by our customers. So the first one is a hotel management system, HVAC mimic. So you can see lighting, heating, air conditioning, air handling units, power consumption and monitoring, network management, alarm, etc. This one is quite full. This one is a radio communication and wide area network monitoring, a part of a big offshore petroleum extraction. And the whole SCADA application is based on Panorama E². This one is a power efficiency application from the French National Railway Network. The purpose is to manage technical maintenance centers, as you can see. This one is the Lille Stadium with the ability to remove its roof, like the Millennium Stadium. As you can see, most of the equipments are managed by Panorama. At the bottom menu, left to right, so you've got configuration, gate access, stadium management, parking access, power, network architecture, optical fiber management, HVAC as well, and the last is unknown for me, PLB architecture. I don't know this one. This one, this is a remote control and monitoring water management near Marseille, which deals with 640 PLC and 54 water treatment plants and 170 water tanks, which is quite a big one, I have to confess. As I said before, you can build a user-friendly corporate mimics. This one is made by a designer slash ergonomist. Those are designed to meet ASM, which means abnormal situation management. So yeah, when you have an issue, you can tell the user what to do in case of an abnormal situation. We can now deal with your question. I'm gonna check. First one. So you said that Pano Studio is more user-friendly. Can you tell us more about that? Yes. For instance, somebody want to, Julien?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. There are many new enhancements in Panorama Studio. Now, for those who knows how it works in version 5, you had the shortcuts to go to a model between a model and instance, like if 11 and F12, you have the same behavior on this with the embedded views. So it's faster to find the referenced view in your embedded views. Some features about mimics analysis is enhanced. As you said before, we have usually some troubles while you build your applications and you use a button to solve the problems. And those solving problems tool is enhanced. So you can also split the tab in the creation toolbox. So you can compare the different windows according to the drawing sections. You can also define constant as link in animations like color or filling levels, and finally you can reproduce it to any behavior of your animation and control. You can activate tooltip on embedded views to know the path, absolute or relative path of the embedded view. Some inclusion in script, you mentioned it before. Note that inclusion works for both functional and workstation scripts, and you can mix a script even for exploitation, for workstation and server side.
Okay, thank you. I have another one. Can we use historical data for trending against new data in Panorama E² or IT? For that, maybe François?
Yes, the new data presentation tool makes this comparison between archive and real-time very easy. The time axis can be separated to be managed either by the real-time value, and you can then draw at the same time historical value on a different time frame. So yes, it's very easy to plot the two types of data together. You will see in the next version of the demonstration that's provided with Panorama a few sample screens that shows exactly that.
Thanks. Yes, I've got another one. Is it possible to use the GeoMaps feature if the systems cannot be connected to internet?
Okay, I can answer again. Yes. Yes, we have this possibility with the open layer object. It can use different types of offline maps. One type is based on tiles of JPEG files. So if you can download the tiles on your machine, you can have a local map. Again, with the demo provided with Panorama, we provide a local map which allows you to zoom on main offices, Chester, Luton, Paris and Bordeaux. So you can see how this behaves. And the local map allows you to zoom quite to the street detail. Alternatively, you can use a geo-referenced image, which means a single JPEG file covering an area, which can be zoomed in the tool, and the tool knows the min and max longitude and latitude position of this image, and it can be used instead of a map.
Thank you. So another one, can you import custom DLLs? I can answer this one. So yes, that's what we called user classes. Basically, for instance, if you want to use a camera, so you receive with your camera a driver, a DLL, so you put your DLL on your Panorama application in the folder user class, and then you define the interface, kind of, and then you will be able to, if the, how to say that, the product has all the feature, basically on the CCTV you can instantiate this object, and you just have to drag and drop the object on a view, and then you've got your the camera, the screen, with what the camera is filming, kind of. As well, that it's for a built-in DLL from any kind of product. You can as well, with Visual Studio, or every .NET development environment, you can build your own DLL. If there is a feature that we don't have in Panorama, you can build yourself a DLL, and you have you can debug it as every kind of DLL and make some traces that's going to appear in your tracer. So it's all very open.
Yes, please note that this webinar about user classes is already available in French on our YouTube channel, and this is one of the topics we will do in English too in the further months.
Okay, thanks. I've got another one. Is Google Street available? So the thing is, it's not available by default, but it's possible to have it.
The software development kit of Google embedded Google Street, but we didn't add it in our development yet. So it's not yet available, but maybe if there is enough demand, maybe we have a look on these features. So this web seminar is now finished. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you see you again in the next webinar.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.